Okay, so I've been wanting to talk about this comment and like internalized racism as a child, especially a first generation child, for quite a while. I have my Jumka organisation box and all of my Jumkas, and I'm going to organise my Jumkas as I talk to you about my experience with internalized racism. I was 4 years old when I moved to this country, being England. I was born in Malaysia, and that makes me a first generation immigrant. And essentially, I moved to a predominantly, like highly predominantly white town. In my primary school, in my year, I remember there was only 2 brown girls, including myself. I could talk about being a first gen kid for ages, but one of the things that is prevalent is this duality in how I have absorbed my culture, my values, and how my parents have, because my parents did so in their native countries, and they've absorbed different values, different versions and perceptions of beauty and standards of many things, and I've absorbed it in this predominantly white culture. Kids at my school were white, the TV characters I would see on my telly were white, the main characters in books I would read were white. Just really no space for brown representation, and so I literally did not see myself in any media growing up or around myself. And whenever I did see myself, it was to propagate the narrative that brown people were like really fresh and had like a really thick accent, or like I remember Raj from The Big Bang Theory was the first time I saw an Indian on telly, and I was like, he's just so nerdy, like that's just not. So my experience and my perception as a young child of being brown was that it was nerdy, that it wasn't cool, and I wanted to do everything I could to disassociate from that narrative so I could be cool, so I could be accepted, so I could fit into this Eurocentric idea of beauty. I feel like as Gen Z kids, everyone has grown up in a highly media-oriented world, and when that media is telling you that your culture and your skin tone does not match the standard of beauty, you as a child are going to absorb that, and I absorbed that, and I reflected that in how I acted. So I didn't want anything to do with my culture or heritage. I didn't like the events I went to. I didn't like celebrating Holi, Diwali. I didn't like any of it, and I didn't do it very publicly. I remember so vividly being in my cultural outfit, being a sari, and I was in the car and my parents were just like, can you just pop up to get flowers from the temple? And I was like crying. I was like, I absolutely do not want to be seen in this. Are you joking? I was so ashamed. As a child, I just attempted to bury my like cultural ties so deep into the ground, just in an attempt to mold myself and cater to this beauty standard that ultimately just did not have any space for me. When I was a child, there was no space for South Asian beauty and representation on the screen. This desire to disassociate from my culture really only went away recently when I started seeing more of myself around me in my university environment, and also seeing more representation on the media, and I could see my ethnic features be celebrated, which is why representation is so important.